Hello everyone, this is the update from the MotoGP race in Le Mans in Frankrijk from the Saturday action. And first of all, excuses because yesterday's video was a bit too long. I reckon later it was like 17 minutes and it's more my enthusiasm, but I tried to keep it a little bit short. But there was a lot of action today, a lot of things happened. First of all, I guess you guys have seen the race or you've seen a summary, so you know the results. Marc Marquez won, obviously, but the way he won is maybe something to talk about. Second place we had Alex Marquez. Third place, that's a huge surprise, Fermin Aldeguer. Didn't expect him to be that good or that far up in front. Fourth, Fabio Quartararo, the guy that before we started the sprint today was on pole position, set France on fire, and right so, because that was very, very spectacular thing for him to do. Fifth place, Maverick Vinales, that's a story on its own. Sixth place, Johan Zarco, another Frenchman. They love it over there. Seventh place, we had Fabio De Gianantonio, turning a shit weekend into a so-so result, at least today. Eighth place, Alex Rins. Ninth place, Johan Mir, first Honda. 10th place, Raúl Fernandez, the guy that I roasted a little bit yesterday. He came quite well today. That's the results on paper, but there was a lot more to do. There was crashes. Like I said yesterday, this is a place where people crash a lot because you crash so easy over here, even when it's not cold and not wet like it was today. The biggest crasher of today, not because the crash was that big, but the result is that big, is Pecco Bagnaia. Pecco Bagnaia suffers fighting against Marc Marquez in the same team. You know the story from the whole season. And today was just a very, very good moment from Pecco Bagnaia to try to get back to Marc, to get under his skin, to put some pressure on him, because on absolute pace and on race pace, Marc is already on another step than Pecco. So Pecco had a really good start, was immediately up to the front, but already in the second lap he crashed out in where basically almost everybody crashes in Le Mans, in what is basically called turn 2. For me it's turn 1, the first time we go left. He lost the front, typical way. And his whole body language, the way he walked back to the box, the way he sat in the box like, okay, I'm fucked. I have no idea what else to do. I try everything, but I'm too slow or I crash. So he's in a shit place at the moment. So really, really sorry for him. There was more crashes. Morbidelli in 3-2 this morning. Ayagura, who yesterday had a biggie, like I told you, where his bike tumbled and it was so expensive, had another one. This one, not a biggie. Qualifying 1, he crashed. Morbidelli crashed again in qualifying 2. Binder crashed in the sprint. Acosta crashed in the sprint. Later a little bit more about it. Fermin Aldeguer on the podium, but also crashed in the sprint. But that was after the finish. They were celebrating. Alex Marquez was there. Marc Marquez was there. They were waving to the public and suddenly he ran into the back wheel of Marc Marquez. The front went up and down he went. So, but anyway, that's a crash more for the fun of it. The guy from the day beside Marc Marquez and his Ducati, who are on another level, was Fabio Quartararo. Putting the Yamaha on pole in Le Mans in his home race is already something special, but the Yamaha has no right to be there, because it was on pole 2 weeks ago in Jerez, which is a very, very different track, was always a Fabio Quartararo track, was always a Yamaha track. Le Mans is not a Yamaha track and not really a Fabio Quartararo track. He puts it on pole with a super lap, which shows one beautiful thing from the Le Mans racetrack. The riders that love it can still make the difference there. Fabio loves it, understands it. Maverick Vinales loves it and understands it. And then you can still ride around the downside of your bike and be competitive. That's the beautiful thing over there. So, but Fabio really is the guy of the day. So sad to see him just not finish on the podium. He had a whole shot. He started really, really good. Did a quick, hard move on Marc into turn 2. Was leading immediately with more than half a second. Marc didn't panic, reeled him in, had a go on him once, immediately got caught back by Fabio, who was fighting for his place, like really, really fighting, and the next move he was gone, and finally he ends up on P4 because his rear tire was worn out a little bit too fast. But at least we see Fabio still giving everything and the Yamaha is making step, because if a Yamaha is fast in Le Mans, at least in the sprint, we did something. Fermin Aldeguer finished third. This is a rookie season for the guy. I think he's still 19 or 20. Is very, very special. Now, it doesn't automatically make him the new Marc Marquez, but it shows how good the Ducati 2024 bike is, how good his crew chief is to guide a rookie into making him focus on the most important thing and let him forget about everything else, because it's so easy to get distracted in MotoGP by all the options, all the choices, all the stress. He has a cool head. He was a good Moto2 rider, not even a world champion, but the good guy with a calm, stable head, and in a good situation, this is what you can do on a Ducati at the moment. So quite special. Marco Bezzecchi finally showed some speed in qualifying, came back to a really good position, was in the beginning of the race in P5, but then sort of throwing it all away by going off track and finishing more or less last. So Aprilia is in their needs of a top rider, because now the development goes in left and right. They have no idea where Jorge Martin, please quickly come back and bring this company more to the front, because the Aprilia, I keep telling it, has so much potential. Yep, sprint race, what to say. The other guy that comes into mind that did something special is Zarco. He lost out in Q1, he crashed, so he didn't make it into Q2. So he was finally in P11, made all the way to 6, also helped by 1 or 2 crashes, but then anyway, he didn't crash, so really good on the Honda. KTM, there is some drama there. Normally Acosta is the guy, Brad Binder is the guy, Bastianini and Vinales came this year, and I'm like, oh, what are these guys going to do? But things have changed a lot. KTM didn't develop enough new parts, but suddenly Maverick Vinales, of all people, found already 2 races ago a way to be fast with the KTM that's completely different. So him and his team found a way, and basically it comes down to a huge change in weight distribution, and then you need to learn to ride a bike again. He learned it now. By now all the KTM riders here in Le Mans copied his setup and try again to be fast with it. He was the fastest in qualifying with it. Honestly, Maverick Vinales had a pace to fight for P3 in this race, but he got boxed around in the start, spent all the race fighting with Acosta and not able to overtake Acosta in not a position where he wanted to be. And finally, halfway the last lap, he does a deep dive to Acosta, doesn't make it, go off track, thinks, okay, I lost it all, comes slowly back on the track, because when you were off track, you can't make places. And then Acosta in the next corner crashes on his own without Maverick being behind him. So finally, Maverick, finished in P5, which is good, but he should have been fighting for P3. And the whole system, the hierarchy in KTM is changing a little bit towards what Maverick is doing. That was it from today's sprint race. We have Aussie riders in Moto3. We have Jacob Rulstone in 18th position, very young kid, so calm down, it's not a drama yet. We have Joel Kelso finishing 3rd in qualifying and being basically fast every session, so there is reason enough to watch the race tomorrow from the Moto3 with Joel Kelso maybe again on the podium. Moto2, we have Senna Agius in P14. Now, he finished very high in 2 of the 5 GPs so far and stands as a proud 7th in the championship standing. But Le Mans, like I said, it's a special track and probably doesn't suit him very well. Starting where he will be from P14, you don't fight for the podium, it's Moto2. But every place behind after 5 or 6 is still possible for him. Like I said, he's 7th in the championship, so in a really good team. It's not over yet for him. Jack Miller. Jack Miller was riding around his position P8, where he qualified. He did a good qualifying session, but suddenly something happened. He dropped back to 14. I don't know if he got boxed around or maybe went off track or there was an issue. He went back to P14 and then came fighting back to P11. So solid race, not special because he finished behind Alex Rins, but lap time wise, all okay. And tomorrow there's probably more in it for Jack. So speaking about tomorrow's main race, Marc Marquez has won 6 sprints in a row and today was the 6th one, but he also crashed out of 2 from the last 5 races so far. This is clearly a mental problem and one where the opposition will probably try to attack him. Now, it looked like he can be vulnerable, if he's vulnerable at all, by destroying his rhythm. Make sure he doesn't get into a rhythm, because once Marc is leading and sets into his rhythm, he's checking out, he's a gunner. So you need to fight with him, do stuff with him, bring him other places of the track that he doesn't have his rhythm, because as long as he doesn't have a rhythm, he sometimes overestimates his capacities and from the Ducati and then suddenly loses it. So that's basically the only way to prevent Marc from winning, by upsetting his rhythm. That's what we're going to hope for tomorrow. Somebody can do it. The other thing for tomorrow is it's definitely not 100% sure dry. Now, if it's wet, everything is different. I mean, Jack Miller can win it, and that's not even a miracle if he wins it in the wet, because Jack's always is good. It's quite likely, at least 50%, that tomorrow's race is going to be wet. So we saw riders during the sessions this weekend all practicing the bike-to-bike, to swap the bike sessions in the pit lane. It's definitely because possible. And that could also open the door a lot for Pecco to gamble, be a bit more aggressive, be harder, maybe win the sprint, and maybe Marc, again, like he did on a wet track in Austin, is overconfident and then washes it, because normally even also in the wet, Marc Marquez is the guy. If the race is wet, there is extra reason not to miss anything, because drama will happen in the wet, always. That's it from the sprint race. But as the end of this video, I want to explain you something where to look out for, because it's not a very complicated track, but on television, have a really good extra look on the last two corners, how the MotoGP, but even the Moto2 riders go around 11 and 12, because what they do, they go in too fast into 11, they spend a lot of time on the curbs outside between 10 and 11, and then exiting out of 212, because effectively it's so narrow. The drive onto this long straight, you have to be really, really fast here. If you have 2 kilometers more here, you have 15 kilometers more here. So everybody who goes into this corner has only one thing in mind: how the fuck do I get out quickly enough? Now, what they do, especially MotoGP, they go very wide over the curb. But they are on the curbs with 50, 55 degrees of banking, of lean angle, and they really rumble over the curbs. Curbs are called curbs for a reason. It's so interesting to see from the different camera angle how much lean they can have over the curbs just in order to have a better drive over there. And there's a couple of cameras there. Pay attention to tomorrow's race, because it's one of my favorite spots where I always think, wow, how? But it happened. So that was it from today's race. I hope you guys watch tomorrow's main race at all, and I come back with a summary of tomorrow after that. Thanks for watching.